All right, we're going to call the meeting to order, please. And can everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Lenahan? Here. Mr. Gemperlein?
Here.
Mrs. Eichhorn? Here. Move to approve the minutes from January 7th.
Second.
A point of clarification. I know I requested for a secretary note to be added to the minutes. I don't see them reflected in the notes.
Right, that was the language that you asked to put in, and I was told to remove it.
Yeah, we can't add to the minutes.
Did the language occur at the meeting?
Well, but it's not factual what occurred, so I was asking for a secretary's note, so I'm just asking if it was removed, so just point of clarification, so trustee Lanahan, you asked for that not to go on the minutes.
So the minutes can't include editorial, so the entire minute would be an editorial. The minutes are to be what occurred at the meeting.
Okay, then we will address that later in the meeting. Okay.
All right, take it out.
Mrs. Eichhorn?
Abstaining was not here for the meeting.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperlein?
Yes.
Okay, before we go into public comment, I'm just gonna, if it's okay with everybody, give just a little bit of an update, so it might help us get through public comment a little quicker, maybe with less contention. So far, we've been moving forward with this initiative to consider all opportunities to improve the service levels of our EMS. And a lot of good things are happening, and I wanted you all to know about it. We have a group of the leading industry professionals in our community who have been meeting. I think their first meeting was over a month ago, and I attended their last meeting. And they are addressing the service issues that were brought up in the Fitch report that have confirmed things that I have been concerned about for years. And the group agrees, and they are addressing those issues. And it's very promising that it appears that if we continue to move in the direction that they are moving, that we are going to be able to improve your service levels without replacing our EMS. They are all confident that they can do that. changes will occur, of course, and they are working on that together, and they will be making their recommendations for what changes need to take place so that those service levels will improve, so that we'll always be doing the right thing and putting patient care first. So I, for one, am very encouraged by that. I just also want to maybe put to rest something that seems to be buzzing out there, and that is that changing medical directors is a precursor to replacing our EMS. That is not the case. It is not a precursor. It is just part of what that group is working on so that we can move forward, make the changes that are necessary to improve service levels. And it's just one step in that direction. And if we're able to continue in that direction and repair these pieces, we'll be able to move forward without replacing our EMS. So things are moving forward in a very positive direction, and the best people suited to determine the steps that need to be taken have been meeting, and they'll be meeting again, I believe, next Monday. And they will be presenting to the commissioners at the end of the month, and then they'll be asked to come in and present to us. So I just wanted to give you that update, and I hope that you're as encouraged by it as I am.
Point of clarification, I just want to make sure that you were speaking as yourself and not as a board, or are you representing yourself and Trustee Gepperlein with that statement? Because there was statements in there that I don't think was factual, or words that were used about them agreeing with the Fitch report or about repairing. We've yet to have any kind of presentation showing all of the supposed flaws that you think are in the system when you're having a award-winning current township fire-based EMS model. I am very encouraged by that statement that it seems like we're moving into the direction of keeping local control. So I think that is fantastic. But I definitely just don't want those to be reflected in the minutes as the board or for putting any words in those members' mouth. I also know clarification, you didn't truly attend the whole meeting, correct? It was just the beginning where you could give your information and then you left the meeting and they carried on with the meeting, correct?
Right. I attended to let them know where, the direction that I'd like to see them, the things in the Fitch report that I would like to see them address. And then I left it to them. They're the professionals. So I said, you guys need to come up with the steps to make those changes.
I think that's encouraging.
All right, with that being said, we'll go into public comment.
Can you clarify who the attendees were at that meeting?
At that meeting was Patrick Brandt, who runs Delcom, which is the countywide 911 system. Chief O'Brien, the Liberty Township Fire Chief, Chief Donahue, who is the City of Delaware Fire Chief, and Chief Schuling, who is the Delaware County EMS Fire Chief.
And that's the subcommittee from the larger committee organized by Gary Best.
I don't know that.
I just asked the chiefs to meet. I never did in the form of a committee. I just asked the chiefs to get together to look at things and see how they might be able to improve things.
Kind of based on Chief Donahue's document that he created back in October?
No.
Oh.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, I also
Actually,
asked the chiefs to get together, but not based on a document.
Okay. But not in an organized task force, just as an unofficial task force?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if they're calling themselves a task force.
We were told we should read the rules of decorum before the meeting.
Sorry?
Matt was informed he should read the rules of decorum.
Oh, okay. Matt.
Liberty Township Trustees approve Resolution 13-0401-07, rules of decorum for all public meetings held in Liberty Township. The rules of decorum do not limit freedom of speech, nor do they violate civil rights. They have been adopted to order to provide a method for any member of the public to address the board in an orderly manner within guidelines. Quorum meetings of the Liberty Township Trustee meetings shall be conducted in an orderly manner to ensure that the public has an opportunity to be heard and that the deliberation process of the board is retained at all times. Public participation is limited to public comment. It's not guaranteed or a right. This is a business meeting of a public body. Detailed questions and interactions are directed to the township staff during business hours. The rules, while any meeting of the board is in session, the following rules of decorum shall be observed. Members of the audience, no person in the audience or any township representative shall engage in disorderly or boisterous conduct, including the utterance of loud, threatening, or abusive language, whistling, clapping, stamping of feet, or other acts which disturb, disrupt, or otherwise impede the orderly conduct of any board meeting. The board recognizes the public with a privilege to be recognized as a speaker and provide opinions to the township business. However, rules of decorum must be followed. Members in attendance not recognized by the board as a speaker shall remain quiet and orderly until so recognized. Delaware County Sheriff's Office may be present and asked to restore order if necessary. Those who are disruptive or disorderly may be asked to leave, be escorted from the meeting, or charged with disorderly conduct. Persons addressing the board. Each person who addresses the board at its meeting shall sign in and be sworn in. Persons addressing the board shall not utter loud, threatening, personal, or abusive language or engage in any other disorderly conduct which disrupts, disturbs, or otherwise impedes the orderly conduct of any board meeting. General rules include keep an open mind, listen constructively, and allow trustees to finish their statements. No arguing with trustees, township officials, residents. No interruption from the audience. Criticize ideas, not people. Anyone intending to speak must sign in. Failure to sign in will result in not being recognized to approach the podium. Accusations are not acceptable. A limit may be placed at the length of time the citizen may speak. Commentary and statements are appropriate and questions may be asked. However, staff is available for that dialogue. The board is not convened for an inquisition.
Administrator Huffman, have we been advised to read that at every single meeting? Or are we, from this point on, going to be able to have copies of that available for when they're checking in?
They've always been out.
So are we reading that in every meeting or just?
It's the second meeting in which it's been read.
Okay.
If I could, Chair, I'd like to just make a comment. I don't know if everyone here realizes that there's never been any proposed change by trustee to EMS from any of us. Delaware County presented a possibility, and we've just been evaluating ways to, I guess, better utilize their services. That's what I've been doing anyway. That would improve services here. But there's never been a change proposed by a trustee to my knowledge.
Before I begin, has everybody turned in their, anybody who wants to make a public comment, have you turned in your sheet? Okay, then this is going to be it, okay? We'll start with Tom Hedge. You're on the top of my list.
If I could, just because the rules of decorum ask for swearing in as well, perhaps we should swear in the speakers who are
Okay.
planning. Unless you guys want to override that.
Go ahead, let's follow all rules.
If everyone who's planning on speaking, who we have a slip, if you could please just stand, raise your right hand, and repeat after me.
Does that include public comment or anyone that may be called upon correctly?
Well, based off the rules of quorum, it's the speakers. Promise to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. So If so, say I do. Thank you. Are we still with 3 minutes?
I don't need to use this, right?
It says if you want to talk about the medical record.
Yes, I'm Tom Hedge, 10153 Wellington Boulevard, here in Liberty Township. First off, I want to thank you for all the efforts that you've made towards trying to improve our EMS service. I look forward to you voting on the soft billing to help offset our future costs. And I think if it's presented right, it can also assist our residents with incurring part of their deductible without actually having to pay it. And so that's a nice side benefit that it'll have. And of course, lessen the advantages of ever wanting to go outside of our township to seek EMS services. And I wish you luck in negotiating a better deal with Delaware County. And I know we're down to picking a medical director. And I would think that you would like to wait till your committee that you mentioned is done with their thought processes and their recommendations that they're going to make before you would want to make this decision, because I would think you'd want to hear their opinions. I don't think they have granted you one yet on which, if we need to change protocol. Right here in our own township, we have Ohio Health with an ER center, and which is paying probably a nice property tax. I don't know if they got an abatement on that, but they're most likely paying a nice property tax, with a lot of doctors that are also paying property tax. But I think right now that, we should be giving that a little bit of thought along with everything else, because they are in our backyard. We also take almost the majority, I think it's a large majority, of the transport end up at an Ohio Health hospital. So again, that hospital has a lot of motivation to be able to work with our fire department and providing assistance. But more important, as you made your comparison, and you and I have had conversations, you talked greatly about the data that OSU can provide, and that makes a lot of sense because you're working not with an individual, but you're working with a corporation. Or not a corporation, you're working with the university. And they're able then to give you some information back that could help our EMS department. That type of relationship has never been established with Ohio Health, because you've always had a W-2 relationship with our current doctor. And so to go down that path of having a actual agreement with Ohio Health, which I believe is possible based upon a letter that I saw, would seem to make sense. And it would seem that with all the things that with all of our current involvement with Ohio Health right now, until OSU is in our community, it would make sense to engage Ohio Health on a much deeper level than simply hiring one of their doctors part-time, and to consider the services that they would offer for that $35,000 or $40,000 a year, as opposed to just our doctor with his individual contract. So I ask you to carefully evaluate that, because I think you know just from looking at all your residents that they would prefer to stay with Ohio Health until we have OSU in our backyard. And you need to remember that you were voted here by the people, and that they request that you make decisions in their best interest and the type of decisions that they would like you to make.
Okay, Tom, thank you.
Thank you.
Denise McCandless.
That's unfortunately a microphone for one of the,
Just talk loud then. Please. Okay. I come more with requests than anything else.
could we start with your name and address? I apologize.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm Denise McCandless. My address is 1820 Sherborne Lane here in Powell. And as I said, I come with requests more than anything else. Any changes that we need or want to make here within our fire department or our EMS, I think we need to have somebody come in with a risk management background and look at it. They have this all throughout the chemical industry. We shouldn't be any different. How many people will be impacted by our decisions positively or negatively? What is a life worth? And we all have to decide that at some level, at some point. And I don't think we should run our township really any differently. Last, just because maybe I'm a little bit behind the times or I don't always follow what is happening on Facebook, it seems like there's not been a lot of transparency in what's going on. And I would like to see just a little bit more transparency, whether it be in the local news or what, as to what is happening in my township and where my taxes are going for something like fire and EMS. So if I could get more transparency, I would appreciate it. That's all. Thank you. Yes, done.
What was the name?
Stop.
I'm Joe Stoutenberg. I live at 10767 Greenwich Drive. And am I speaking loud enough? I forgot to count. All right, sorry. And actually, coming right after Denise is probably helpful. I'm going to have a different perspective. I'm a fellow of the Society of Actuaries with 2 decades of experience studying risk. I always struggle with the elevator speech to describe really what's my job, and I think it's even a little bit tougher in this setting to why am I bringing a professional's perspective to this meeting tonight. I'd like to demonstrate, and realizing that some of this is going to be to the extent that we're no longer considering potential proposals to what I say drastically change our EMS provision. I still want to speak to the way that we make decisions in this township and the way that trustees really cultivate a culture of trust. So please bear with me, despite the fact that some of this is, and thankfully, moot. So we quantify the money in question. We're able to do it all day long. I created an exploratory model to quantify the lives at risk. In plain English, how many people could die? Within my model, an average of 6 lives will be placed at risk every year if we reduced to 2 paramedics per ambulance. So let me repeat, 6 people could die each year. Now, actuaries are famous for caveats. We need a much longer time to discuss, really what I would hope that you would do with model results. For now, I'll just offer my expert opinion that reasonable modifications could be made to the model and still give that size of an impact. That's the type of thing we would be talking about if we were still seriously discussing that type of thing. If you don't mind some brief legalese, I just have now and will continue to provide, given opportunities, I provide material that qualifies as statements of actuarial opinion for the guidelines established by the American Academy of Actuaries. I hereby attest that I have met all relevant basic and continuing education requirements. I will only perform in capacities for which I am qualified. I'm not asking this board for permission to do the work that I'm undertaking. I will never require compensation from the township for the things I'm working on. I will contribute in whatever ways Chief O'Brien deems useful and only for as long as he thinks it's worthwhile. If my work is formally used to make decisions, my professional standards not only cause me to welcome competent peer review, I would require it. And this speaks directly and critically to the reluctance to call forth a formal task force. No matter how much we know we need peer review. Down the line, I can envision wanting assistance in areas outside my areas of practice, communications with the board and other places. I've mentioned multiple times the Data Science for Social Good group at the University of Chicago. They did very relevant work in Cincinnati that applies directly to what we do here. I can cut short my comments on that just to say there is an element of trust that trustees ought to cultivate. And I've been dismayed at, even were this to be a minority, a vocal minority, I hope this board, current and future members, whoever they may be, will take seriously to really, listen to your constituents. Even if it's a smaller number, you really damage your ability to carefully consider all the possibilities as you say that you want to, and I believe that you want to. And I'm sure you're aware of the environment of litigation, and really, if we proceed in ways that are not careful, that don't apply due diligence, not even throughout the coming months, but through the years, you open yourself up to scrutiny at any time, any failure, even if it could have been attributed to, that it could have been happened under the current paradigm, you're going to invite scrutiny to ask whether this board contributed to that decision. And I hope that you will take this due diligence also in contributing to the question of the medical director. I do not think it's a bureaucratic decision, so thank you for your time.
To Brian Jepson.
Brian Jepson, 1500 McCoy Road, Upper Arlington. Trustees Lenningham, Amperline, Icorn, I want to thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today. My name is Brian Jepson. I'm the leader of the West Market of Ohio Health. The West Market includes Riverside Methodist Hospital, Dublin Methodist Hospital, Grady Memorial Hospital, and O'Bleness Hospital. Ohio Health is a nationally recognized, faith-based, not-for-profit, charitable healthcare organization based in Central Ohio. Ohio Health has been recognized as one of the top 5 large healthcare systems in the country by America's Truven Healthcare Analytics. We also have been honored with this designation 6 times. We've been recognized as a Fortune 100 Best Places to Work for the last 12 years. Ohio Health is a great organization. Ohio Health has served this community since 1891. Our mission has been to improve the health of those we serve. We're a family of 29,000 associates, physicians, and volunteers. A network of 11 hospitals, 200 plus ambulatory sites, hospice, home care, medical equipment, and other healthcare services spanning 47 counties in Ohio. I'm keenly aware of the ongoing public dialogue regarding the status of EMS medical director services here in Liberty Township. Ohio Health fully supports the trustees' expressed desire to protect the safety and well-being of the citizens of Liberty Township. Patient safety is central to Ohio Health and to our mission. Ohio Health Emergency Medical Services is honored to be a longtime partner of fire, EMS, and law enforcement organizations serving Ohio communities. Ohio Health provides a robust EMS director platform that I believe is better than any other service provider in the area. Ohio Health is prepared to continue offering high-quality services at competitive pricing, supported by a long track record of serving Central Ohio and serving the residents of Liberty Township. As elected officials, I'm hopeful that you will engage in a fair and transparent process to secure the right contract for the citizens of Liberty Township. During the last public meeting, the trustees authorized Trustee Lenningham to collect, gather, and present information to the board. Given this development, Ohio Health requests the opportunity to provide information about the services it can provide to the residents of Liberty Township. Any information gathering session on such an important topic simply cannot be complete without outreach and engagement with the largest healthcare provider in the area. I would like to present a comprehensive overview of Ohio Health EMS Medical Director Services offerings and the benefits a direct contract with Ohio Health can provide. A direct contract with Ohio Health for EMS medical direction will establish greater continuity in care and leadership. It will allow for us to engage with the township leadership to jointly select the best possible EMS physician for Liberty Township. Together, we can build upon the strengths of each of our organizations to form a lasting partnership. An Ohio Health Medical Director will satisfy all the legal requirements for EMS medical direction set forth by the state of Ohio. Will review and develop and direct implementation of patient care standards, participate in training, continuing medical education, actively participate with EMS in conducting performance improvement reviews, be a liaison to the greater medical community, including the neighboring and regional EMS agencies. Collaboration is key to success, and we are in support of being a collaborative partner. With the implementation of EMS Medical Direction Agreement, Liberty Township would benefit greatly from Ohio Health's state-of-the-art, high-quality EMS outreach education. Our education opportunities are comprehensive, and they include in-station continuing education, clinical observations, hands-on skills and stimulation. In addition, we provide Liberty Township with comprehensive EMS data analytics and outcome measures, something you expressed that you need and want. I'm finishing up here. Ohio Health believes that we can be good stewards of the taxpayer funds by offering a low-cost and comprehensive, high-quality EMS service to the citizens of Liberty Township. It would be an honor and a privilege to work with the township leadership in partnering to continue serving patients throughout Liberty Township. On behalf of Ohio Health, thank you again for your time to speak, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Hi, my name is Andrew Sapp. I live at 4498 Hunter's Bend here in Powell, Liberty Township. I have 3 young daughters and a wife I care very much about. And so, as a reminder, I'd like to remind everybody that I did work for Delaware County EMS for 13 years for full time. And for the last 8 years, I've worked at our neighboring Orange Township Fire Department full time. I've had the pleasure to know Dr. Yamrick for all that time. I've had the honor of turning over probably hundreds of patients to him at Riverside, and I'm pleased to have him serve our community for the last 28 years. I've worked alongside Liberty Township Fire since 1996 on countless auto accidents, medical runs, and fires. I'm here to tell you folks that you have an excellent, excellent EMS service. I'm glad to hear that you get to continue that. But that excellent emergency service has been built on the cornerstone of medical direction. Each EMS service has a medical director, a doctor, that tells them this is how you're going to practice. And Dr. Yamrick has been that cornerstone for building this EMS service. Liberty Township Fire has undoubtedly saved the lives of both my grandfather, Max Holzer, who had a ruptured valve, and my uncle, Michael Fisher, who had a pulmonary embolism. Each time they kind of poo-pooed the idea of going to the hospital, but the Liberty medics realized the severity of their symptoms and transported them and saved their lives. We at Orange Township are now honored to have Dr. Yamrick take on a role as medical director there as well. Many of the fire-based EMS systems in the southern tier of the county have joined a group called GOLD, which is Genoa, Orange, Liberty, Delaware, and Harlem Township Fire Departments, fire-based EMS, to work on one common protocol. There are several members of this organization that are physicians, but I'm telling you, Dr. Yamrick has taken the leadership role on this committee, and we are lucky to have him there. He is the undisputed leader in providing cutting-edge, patient-centered care. I'm glad to have worked with him on our new protocol. I look forward to the implementation at Orange Township. This GOLD group, these fire-based EMS providers, provided care to 65% of the residents in Delaware County, and will continue to do so through the coming years. Again, one of the reasons for the excellent service that we get here in Liberty Township is medical direction. I cannot tell you how important it is to keep our community safe by maintaining Dr. Yamrick as our medical director. It would be beyond irresponsible to remove him. Thank you very much.
Good evening, my name is Sarah Kirscher and my address is 8512 Maple Leaf Court in Powell. Good evening and thank you for the opportunity to come before you this evening. A group of residents, including me, have been concerned about the recent actions and questionable pattern of behavior displayed by trustees Lenigan and Gemperline, and their potential to expose the township to unexpected additional expense through either litigation expenses, judgments against the township, or other expenses.
Mrs. Kirscher, you are here to talk about EMS?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
Can you stick to the subject, please?
I'm fully in support of keeping our Liberty Township EMS here. However, this issue goes beyond that. Regardless of where you stand on the issue, Trustee Lenigan, you have grossly mishandled your attempt to make
This is
changes
not-
to our
I'm
EMS
sorry.
system.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you to stay on topic. In the rules, he said this is not a time to disparage anybody. So if you want to talk about EMS, please do.
This is regarding the handling of the EMS.
Well, this
So, I'm sorry.
Could you go back to that spot in the rules about disparaging?
There's no arguing, interruptions, criticize ideas of people.
Criticize ideas?
Okay, let me just finish it. I'll just finish with this. Under procedures provided in the Ohio Revised Code, today a petition was filed with the Delaware County Municipal Court
Again,
asking
I'm
a
gonna
judge
have
to
to
impose
stop
an
you
increase
now.
in standard
I'm gonna stop you
$1,000
again. This is my
official
third
bonds
time
held
asking
by
you to
trustee
stop.
Caroline and Lenigan
It's the
when
fourth
they
time I've
voted.
asked you to stop. Everything you're saying
You're
is off
asking me
the
to
record.
stop?
Yes, please
I'm not allowed to
stop.
speak.
You're allowed to speak about EMS. The rules are clear that this is not a place to disparage anybody or insult anybody. So, and that is not, your topic is EMS. You're allowed to speak. But I've now 4 times asked you to stay on topic. You can either stay on topic or you can take your seat.
I just want to speak out to make sure that if this is ever goes to court, that I feel if she's talking about EMS bringing factual information, I do not have any concern with you continuing this discussion. So, Mike, do you have, Trustee Gepperline, do you have issues with what she's saying right now? Would you like her to stop?
She's talking about lawsuits, that's not EMS.
Court filings are not the topic. You can either stay on topic or you can sit down.
I understand that I am not allowed to speak. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah.
Stephen Herman? Stephen Herman?
Hey, good evening. My name is Steve Herman. I live at 3609 Stoneway Point in Powell. It's part of the Stonebridge at Golf Village Demonstration Camp. I've been a frequent ambulancer, elite status, several times. I've taken steps, even surgically, to lessen the impact of meeting everybody at Riverside Hospital. The last time I went to the hospital, I had severe chills, could not walk properly, was having major difficulty breathing, and was spitting up blood. So we needed one EMS to get me into the gurney, and another one to put oxygen on and try to help me cope with the blood. So when the trustees are concerned with response time, I'm concerned with how fast we can get to the hospital. Because for 2 people in the ambulance, we're going to be in my driveway for 15 minutes until I'm stable. This did not bode well for Princess Diana, unless you consider Flatline stable. Now, there was an article in the Olentangy Valley News. They interviewed a county commissioner's name escapes me. But he had a completely different take on what was going on here. He seemed to be concerned with making sure that there are backup capabilities in case one district was overwhelmed, and did not think that any major change needed to be made with Liberty Township EMS Fire. So I'm really confused, and then I come to this meeting, and you seem to have the tape that Commissioner was inferring. And so I'm just wondering if there was a failure of communication, because you were on a radio show, I called up, and they asked me if I was for and against. I said I was against. I was on hold for 1 hour and 7 minutes until the topic changed. And I'm thinking if I said I'm for, I would have gone on right away. I went to last meeting, and now we go from a 1 deputy meeting to a 3 deputy meeting. Somebody's making money on shirts, okay, and printing these things up. And, you know, quite frankly, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Thank you.
Christina Halley, 337 Safe Reed Way in Powell. Good evening. I wanted to speak to Dr. I'm going to say your name wrong. Yamrick, and his employee with Liberty Township. It says EMS on my sign-in sheet. That's what this is. The reason I wanted to talk about it, I want to back up just a moment to fill in Trustee Eichhorn on the previous meeting. There was an incident, and Dr. Yamrick was removed. Again, I'm saying it wrong again. And following that, there were some comments made on Facebook by Trustee Gemperlein that I wanted to address because they were about me personally. And I wanted to talk about how those relate to what I think might be happening with the EMS. There was a group of us who stood behind Dr. Yamrick when he was being removed. And that's all we did, we stood. Today we stood for the Pledge of Allegiance, we stand for the national anthem, we stand if we attend church for the gospel reading, we stand for things in which we believe. The accusation made against me and the other adults who stood, this is about EMS because it's going to relate to what I say in just a moment about Mr. Yamrick. When we were standing, the accusation made against me and the other adults who chose to stand, nothing else, was that we were near violent, this is a quote, near violent on the verge of Ferguson.
Are you talking about EMS?
I am, yeah, because while we stood for something we believed in, which was EMS, we were near violent on the verge of Ferguson. Ferguson, where there was looting, vandalizing, assault, burglary, theft, injuries, arson, gunshots, lots of language and Molotov cocktails, was akin to us standing.
I have yet to hear anything about EMS.
This begs the question, what is the truth about what's happening with Dr. Yamrick? Because if it can be interpreted that my standing is violence on the verge of Ferguson, Missouri, then what is happening that is leading to the dismissal, potential dismissal of our award-winning medical director? What we know, what's true, is that this community supports him. What we know is true is that the people who work for him support him. What we know is true is that the people who have been his patients give rave reviews and support him. The only thing I have seen, because we've been given no information about disciplinary action, it was presented at the previous meeting that there were 4 notes in his record for the last 28 years as our director. All 4 of them were related to, like, his thing was re-upped, his contract was re-upped, you know, he was renamed, there was nothing disciplinary. So the only thing I have heard from anyone on this board as to what his issues are specifically are that Trustee Gemperlein was upset that Dr. Yamrick had called him a liar, which he heard from his daughters who sat next to him, that he said it 30 times. And Mr. Gemperlein repeated that over and over and over to a group of us as being the reason he was so upset.
Thank you. Your time is up. Jim back. Jim back.
Thank you. My name is Jim Beck. I'm at 4257 Rutherford Road, Liberty Township, Powell, Ohio. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. I'm going to be very short. It seems to be a lot of discussion about something that seems to be a proposal, but hasn't been voted on or won't be for a while yet. And so the discussion is going on, and it seems to be that everybody wants this to be decided right now. I don't think it needs to be decided quite so rapidly. First of all, I've lived in Liberty Township for 30 years. When I moved here, the fire department was in a small building at the north end of town. They were in a garage, basically. And they've been fantastic in taking care of us for all that length of time. I certainly support all the ladies and gentlemen that serve us currently in Liberty Township Fire Department and EMS. It seems to me that whatever this proposal is, which I've attempted to try to understand, is like way up here, when we need to be taking a look at serving or sharing with other fire departments that are closer to some of these places where we need to serve them. There ought to be some way that if Liberty Township gets a call and it's too far away, they can immediately push a button and the next township over can immediately go there and be 2 minutes away. Now, I don't know why that isn't happening if it isn't. Now, it seems to me that would be the simple solution to this. We don't have to deal with all of this other stuff from the county or all of this politics. This isn't a political decision. This needs to be solved independently. Get these guys together from these other fire departments and say, okay, if it comes in and is closer to you, you automatically go. And that should be the solution. It shouldn't be a big deal. All of those other departments are heavily trained. I certainly appreciate all the heavily training that goes on with Liberty. It's both fire department and EMS people coming up to my house when I need you. But isn't there something that can be done a lot simpler without all this negotiation and all these major proposals? A committee of people from each of these counties could get together and say, okay, this is your area. When we can't get there, go there. And somebody's life could be saved. And times could be not wasted. And it would make it a whole lot simpler. And that's all I have to say. Thank you very much.
We're going to move on to the business part of our meeting, and public comment is over. Okay, Nancy?
Resolution 19-12201, approving purchase orders for 2018.
Can I get a motion to approve 19012201?
So moved.
Need a second? I'll second it.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Eichhorn?
I'm sorry. Move for discussion?
Do you want to discuss?
Yeah, Nancy, can you give us any information on this, additional information on this?
The first purchase order is for it's a grant. It was a grant that we received for fire EMAC terrorism response to tablets.
And that was a grant that was filled out application by our fire department.
Fire.
Yeah. From, I believe, firefighter Nikki Smith. Okay.
I'm not sure who filled it out. To be
Okay.
honest. And the $40,000 is the Jaws of Life, the BWC grant.
Okay, great. It's fantastic to get those grants. Another fantastic thing our fire department does.
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Eichhorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenihan?
Yes.
Resolution 2, approving bills and warrants.
Can I get a motion to resolution 2? Motion's a second, resolution 19012202.
Everybody do second.
Yeah.
Trustee Acorn, I think you're looking at resolution 3.
This one right here.
And
on the back of it
there's no
too.
attachment to resolution 2.
There's no attachment.
Okay,
So you're-
okay,
You're looking at
This one right
resolution
here.
3 still, yes.
okay.
Rob, we did an O2, there aren't any, but traditionally 1 and 2 are
Right.
in order, so we were afraid to skip 2.
Okay, all right, as long as we're doing this. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you.
Approval?
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Resolution 3, 2019 purchase orders and blanket certificates. You'll notice on here, end of the year, we canceled purchase orders, so they didn't carry over. And we canceled the one for the fire truck and did a new one. So it makes a difference in the budget.
Okay, move to approve resolution 19012203.
Second that.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Resolution 4 for 2019 bills and warrants.
I'll move to approve resolution 19012204. Second.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Resolution 5, permanent appropriation amendment number 2. This reflects the POs that were canceled and renewed.
I'll move to approve resolution 19012205.
I'll second that.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Resolution 6, amendment to resolution 19010709.
I'll motion to approve resolution 19012206.
Second.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Excuse me, resolution 7, amending amount approved in resolution 18-1001-09 expenditure to BWC grant funds for Jaws of Life equipment. Past resolution authorizing expenditures in the amount not to exceed $40,000 for the purchase of a hydraulic pool. The total cost of the equipment is $56,990. The $40,000 coming from BWC grants and $16,990 coming from the fire department funds. So this resolution amends the amount authorized in the previous resolution for the payment for the hydraulic tools to the amount not to exceed $56,990, with $40,000 being paid by BWC, $16,990 being paid by fire department funds. And it's payable in Findlay Fire Department.
Move to approve resolution 19012207.
Second.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Resolution 8 is approving the 2019 Township Delaware County Regional Planning Commission membership payment. Ohio Revised Code has certain requirements for the use and filing of plats and zoning review requirements. Annual membership dues for the Delaware County Regional Planning Commission membership is due for Liberty Township. Staff recommends continuing this membership. Therefore, to approve the attached 2019 Township annual membership dues in the amount of $12,963.
Move to approve resolution 19012208. Second.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Alcorn?
Yes.
Resolution 9 is authorizing payment of dues and membership renewal for the Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission. We are currently a member. The renewed membership is necessary to pay the 2019 membership dues. So therefore, the resolution is approving the amount of $9,795.97.
Move to approve Resolution 19012209.
Second that.
Matt, can you give us some examples of how Morpsey has been?
Morpsey is more of a regional. It's the, can't remember exactly how many counties, but surrounding Franklin County and the surrounding townships. They are more for metropolitan planning, which gets into transportation planning, funding for roadways, bridges, things on that line.
How we utilize them, so our residents can know what they do for us.
We have applied for grants through the Delaware County Engineers Office as supportive to the engineers' request for projects within Delaware County.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes.
Mrs. Alcorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gemperline?
Yes.
Resolution 10, authorizing expenditures for IT services, our monthly contract with Clarity, approve the expenditures of funds in the amount of $2,892.62.
Move to approve Resolution 19012210.
Second. So, is this for, since we haven't moved to the county yet, we're gonna have them every month have this unless,
Is that,
We don't have the fiber done,
no.
so we have to have some service, so Clarity is serving that
Does
for
anyone,
us.
you have an idea what the projection of the completion of the fiber is?
I'm sorry.
Do we know when the fiber is going to be completed?
Well, the fiber's in, we're finding out our equipment isn't equipped to handle the speed of the fiber. So we're needing to order new equipment to handle the speed of the fiber. The old equipment, we can put on gov deals and get some money out of that.
so we're talking about spending more money from this transfer now?
Is there any timeline of that being completed?
They haven't started yet, so it's getting on the books, but it's not there yet.
6 months?
So I can't tell you. I don't know.
Okay.
So should we be looking at negotiating since it's not equipped to handle, instead of going month to month, is our rates any different from what we had before? Or are they staying the same?
I don't think that they're going to be willing to negotiate with us because we booted them out. They have no need to negotiate anything.
And so how long now have they been doing month to month for us, basically? It's been a year. So,
Go on.
so we awarded it to the county, then now we're paying more money.
Took a while to get the fiber installed. Once that's installed, we learned the equipment wasn't able to handle the speed of the fiber.
So have we approved the new equipment yet?
That was the resolution. No.
We've approved the connectors. I'm speaking like I know what I'm talking about. But there's a connector that goes to the equipment. Now, the equipment can't handle the speed, so we have to replace the equipment also. So I'm not sure, Chief. Has it been ordered? Do you know?
I'm not sure if we can have.
What the cost that we're waiting on, I thought that you were working on a resolution for it, so, yeah, so, yeah.
So we gotten a quote on the?
Yes, we have the quote. When they came in, they looked at all of our stuff, we thought we were good, and then when they were in the fiber, they said, no, wait a minute, it's not enough, so we're gonna have to get higher speed equipment, which we have a quote on, and Matt, we've been working on it, so, yeah.
Plus 10%.
So are we doing everything we can to get this moved along so we can get over to the county?
I just have a concern for that change, the quote then, from what was originally, we thought we were going to be paying for making that change.
That dollar amount was part of the original quote that was provided by the county. We were under the impression that we wouldn't have to do that portion of it because we had relatively new equipment. Once the fiber did actually get installed, we realized the equipment we had wasn't capable of handling the new fiber. So it was part of the original quote. We didn't move forward with it because we thought we had relatively new equipment that would handle it. Unfortunately, we're finding out later that we can't handle it. So it was part of the original quote.
So that was the amount we thought we were going to pay from the beginning?
As far as,
Yes, is that the amount we thought we were going to pay from the
Equipment,
beginning? Because that's not how it was communicated to me earlier. Okay, well then we can talk about this off, but I don't, let's pull those numbers.
We're just approving the monthly bill here, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gimperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lennon?
Yes.
Resolution 11 is authorizing expenditures for fire department tire purchase. Become necessary to replace the tires on the fire department engine 322 and battalion vehicle 321. Money has been appropriated and budget has been approved. So not to exceed $10,000 for the purchase of tires for engine 322 and the battalion 321.
Move to approve resolution 19012211.
Second.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mr. Gimperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Lennon?
Yes.
Resolution 12 is authorizing expenditures for repair and service to EMS cots and stair chairs. Excuse me. In order to ensure proper, safe, and efficient operation, it has become necessary to repair and service the EMS cots and stair chairs, which are used on a daily basis by the medics. This is to authorize an expenditure not to exceed $1,500 for those repairs.
Move to approve resolution 19012212.
Second.
Mr. Gimperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lennon?
Yes.
Resolution 13 is authorizing expenditures for repair and service on fire department portable radios. To ensure proper, safe, and efficient operations become necessary to repair and service portable radios, which are relied upon by the fire department personnel. So this contract is to authorize an expenditure not to exceed $3,000 for the repairs.
Move to approve resolution 19012213.
Second.
Mrs. Lennon?
Yes.
Mr. Gimperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Resolution 14 is accepting the annual departmental inventory reports and authorizing the filing with the county per Ohio Revised Code 505.04. This requires staff members to conduct the annual inventory and provide it to the trustees for approval, which is in the middle of the table there for you. Ohio Revised 505.04 calls for the inventory to be conducted on or about the second Monday of January. Submitted the required documents for the approval consistent with Liberty Township annual inventory policy approved in 2007. This calls for only those items in excess of $500 being recorded. So the attached inventory reports from the Fire, Parks, and Road Services Administration, Fiscal, and Zoning Departments, and directs the Township Administrator to file these with the appropriate county office as required by law, which is currently the county engineer's office, but I believe there was a recent law passed that going forward, we won't have to send it to the engineer's office starting next year.
Move to approve resolution 19012214.
Second.
Mrs. Icorn?
Yes.
Mrs. Lennon?
Yes.
Mr. Gimperline?
Yes.
Resolution 15 is formally rejecting the November 27, 2018 Delaware County proposal to Liberty Township regarding EMS. Liberty Township Board of Trustees received a proposal from Delaware County Commissioners dated November 27, 2018, wherein the EMS service currently provided by the Liberty Township Fire-based EMS would be provided by Delaware County EMS paramedics. And the Board of Trustees has reviewed the proposal and researched the positive and negative costs and service impacts of the proposal, and the Liberty Township Trustees will not move forward or accept this proposal. Now therefore formally reject the Delaware County Commissioner's proposal dated November 27, 2018 for Delaware County to be primary provider of EMS to Liberty Township.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve resolution 19012215. Do I have a second?
The reason I'm not going to second that is only because it's premature. I'm certainly willing to table it until our next meeting.
So are we having discussion on this?
No, I said I'm willing to table it. And to our next meeting, when we have more information and the group of professionals have another opportunity to meet. Like I said, that proposal is being massaged heavily. But it doesn't, we don't need to reject it. We're changing it. We're going to try to enter into a new agreement with the county. And like I said before, replacement of our EMS is highly likely to be off the table. We're moving forward in the right direction. As long as we're able to make all those adjustments, we will not be replacing our EMS. We're just working on making the adjustments, and I think after their next meeting, we will probably have some solid conclusions.
I do think, though, just for understanding that we're working on things, you know they're meeting, that I think within that proposal, the big part of it was about how the local control was going to be taken away. I think with the members that are meeting, their theme has been regional coordination, maintaining local control. So I think it would do wonders for the community and for us when we're working together, for us to send a message to the commissioners that we at least, if you don't want to be the whole proposal, of maybe making a motion to at least send up a message to him that we support at least keeping local control.
I think the commissioners are well aware of what...
That's fine, but I think we should send a loud message.
You know, I think the rejection of the proposal is a little bit harsh and also a little disrespectful to our county commissioners.
I think for the turmoil that's caused our community, I do not think it would be disrespectful, and I think we owe it to our residents to show them that.
Commissioners gave that proposal, they said it's a draft of a concept. They didn't say that's the only thing they would do. So I don't want to tell them, no thanks, we don't want your help. So I want to wait to see what comes out of this. I think we're going to get some help, more help from them than we've been getting.
Yeah, we're very interested in their cooperation, and actually their cooperation is essential to the long-term sustainability of our EMS department. So rejecting their proposal is inappropriate. However,
I disagree.
By the next meeting, we might have begun some contractual language with them, and we'll share that with you then. So for now, I'd like to table it until the next meeting. Again, I'm going to tell you that everything is pointing in the direction of not replacing our EMS.
But I think action's going to speak louder than words. Most of the actions that I've taken really hasn't made our residents feel comfortable. So I don't think saying those is That's the same thing.
Take the
Move
vote
on.
to table it? Okay. Yes.
Resolution 16, implementing soft billing for EMS in Liberty Township effective February 1st, 2019. Liberty Township Board of Trustees authorized the research and investigation of the imposition and collection of reasonable charges for the use of emergency medical services with Resolution 16-0906-11. In accordance to Ohio Revised Code, Section 505.084, the board may establish and collect reasonable charges, and it is in the best interest of the township fiscally responsible to begin implementation of soft billing in order to ensure sustainability of funds for township fire-based EMS. So this, therefore, implementation of the imposition and collection of reasonable charges, soft billing for the use of emergency medical services, together with credentialing and related services with the effective date February 1st, 2019.
Move to approve Resolution 19012216.
Second.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Wait, do you have any questions or?
Soft billing?
No. I do. I would like to have some discussion with Chief O'Brien about soft billing. I feel like we should have music when everyone comes. I'm going to the nerves a little bit. It's not that I have an issue so much with soft billing and the fact that I think when the residents have an understanding of how this can be set up, so that, an understanding that within their insurance, that they're already being, insurance companies already work that into the premiums that they're paying, whether they use it or not, and that's by state law. My biggest concern has always been about soft billing is putting someone in a position where they're afraid to pick up the phone and call 911 because they don't understand it. So the only concern I have with this is moving forward as of February 1st with it, but I know we still have to work. I mean, when we talk about effective, it's still, explain to me that February 1st, when we're saying implementing, it's still going to take a few months for it to actually be done and in the works, correct?
There would be another resolution that would have to be adopted to go into the contract, and the contract has to be signed. We have the, what the billing would be, what our estimates are. I have a new copy of the contract. The biggest thing is that we have to get the word out. To answer your first question, no one's going to be denied service whether they can pay or not. That is immaterial. That's who you call, we will be there. The second thing is that the way that I hope to have it set up is you won't even know you were billed. Some places when they self-bill you, they say, hey, your insurance company paid $700 and the bill was $1,000, but you paid the $300. And that is not the intent. That's not my intent of how this will work.
For the residents?
For the residents.
For the residents.
Now, non-residents will be billed differently. But as far as our residents, they will not, they shouldn't even realize it happened. We have to set up, it will take some time, once we sign the contract and pass the resolution and everything, then we have to do a pre-hospital inspection. We have to have several forms filled out. We have to have a HIPAA officer, and then Medicare will come and inspect our facilities and all of our paperwork and all of our electronic stuff. But we can, once we'll put the resolution on for the contract for the next meeting, which will be shortly after February 1st, and then we can move right along. Keeping in mind too that there's usually, once we're approved, there'll be about a 3-month arrears before we start to collect any money.
And Chief, I know we've met about this and talked about this, but I think it's important for everyone in a public meeting to understand everything. So who will be contracting with to do this up?
The county offered a piggyback on their contract. The company has changed names, and the new company has now changed healthcare. Everybody else, I believe, to my knowledge, has piggybacked on that contract as well. And there is I'm not exactly sure off the top of my head what their percentage collection fee is. But basically, at the end of the month, all of our runs will be dumped to them. They will bill the insurance companies, and then, as I talked with Rob earlier today, to give him the heads up, there'll be an electronic lockbox where the deposits will be made, and either Rob or Nancy will be the only two that can take that money and transfer it into the proper account.
And what other townships in the area are piggybacking off the county as well on this?
I'm going to say Orange and Genoa, and I believe Concord bills. I think us and Delaware are the only two that are not billing at this time.
And within that contract, is it cookie cutter that we have to do it exactly like the other townships, or can we make some special requests?
Medicare and ORC kind of defines what we can charge and how we can do it. So basically, since it's a soft billing contract, we reviewed it again just to be sure, and it's basically the same as everybody else, so it'd be the same across the board.
If we end up passing this tonight by a majority or unanimous, are we planning on doing some kind of communication campaign to make sure that the residents have a full understanding of how it works, so we aren't in a situation where we have someone saying, I was afraid to call 911? I'm sorry.
Afraid because I can't afford that.
Right. So, I mean, I just want to make sure that we are prepared if we pass this, and, maybe future resolutions of putting a plan together. How exactly are we going to communicate to them, whether it's mailers, additional meetings, utilizing social media or so on, but definitely having a laid out plan of exactly, this is the timeline, this is when it's going to be implemented, and answering, a simple FAQ.
Yeah, and I have Trustee Eichhorn, I have a fact sheet that I've developed that we can put on the website as well. Plus our guys will have this stuff, plus our guys will be trained to let people know, I can't pay, come on, we're going to the hospital anyway. There'll be no difference in our service. It's just that there'll be a few extra forms people have to sign for us to authorize the bill.
Right. I just remember someone, and I think even particularly maybe here and in the commissioner's office, talking about had chest pains, ended up driving themselves, and I just don't want anyone to be in that situation. So, thank you.
Can you tell us what the fee will be?
Well, right now, and I have to double check because I have all the papers ready to go. I'm going to run them through the law directors again to make sure that we're all set. Basically, for a basic life support run, the cost we have now is $685. For an advanced life support run, which is an IV, some other things, is $810. And for a advanced life support run, which would be a trauma or cardiac arrest, would be $1,175 plus $14.50 per mile for transport.
I did an out-of-community transport of my husband, and I got an $895 bill. How was that?
And also too on this, the basic life support, what it did do, Medicare tops it, I believe, at $343. So if you are on a fixed income and you're on Medicare, Medicaid will only pay $343, and you will not be responsible for the difference. That help?
But they still bill you that for that extra amount?
No, the way that I've explained it to the billing company is I don't want, you can have you pay the difference. I made it specifically clear, I don't want our residents asked to pay the difference, because some will, but I think we should take what the insurance company will give us and leave it at that.
And those are things I just want to make sure that's worked out, that we're properly communicating that.
Yeah.
When we receive a letter of, who to call immediately.
Right. Yeah, and I will make sure that all of you, I've got a lot of this together. I've had it together for a while, since July, I think. So I'll make sure that you guys get where we're going and you're kept abreast of the situation before we.
And you've updated us through soft billing for months. That was in your parts.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Mrs. Lenahan?
Yes?
Mr. Gepperline?
Yes.
Mrs. Eichhorn?
Yes.
Resolution 17 is designating Liberty Township Fire Department as primary provider of fire and emergency medical services in the township pursuant to Ohio Revised 505.37A. The board has authority pursuant to revised code 505.37A to establish a fire department and emergency medical services to protect against the occurrence of fires and to protect the property and lives of citizens of the township against Damage and accidents, Liberty Township currently provides fire department and emergency medical services to its residents. The board recognizes the exemplary fire and emergency medical service that Liberty Township Fire Department provides to the residents of the township, and now desires to formally designate the Liberty Township Fire Department as the primary provider for fire protection and emergency medical services. Therefore, Liberty Township Board of Trustees, Delaware County, Ohio, the board hereby designates the Liberty Township Fire Department as the primary provider of fire protection and emergency medical services in the township. And 2, all formal actions of this board concerning and relating to the passage of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of the board, and all deliberations of the board and any of its committees that resulted in such formal actions were in meetings open in the public and in compliance with all legal requirements, including Ohio Revised Code 121.22, and the resolution shall be in full force and effective immediately upon adoption.
Can I ask a question? Matt, is this a mirror of the Orange Township resolution?
It is.
Okay. Can I make a comment? Liberty Township's in a different situation than Orange in that we get reimbursement from the county on every run we make. I am concerned that this resolution could sever that funding. So,
But they're
until
our
I know
primary
other-
today.
Pardon?
But they're our primary today. It's not sole. I would agree if we said the sole, but we're just saying that that's our primary, which is our current model of saying that they would be our.
I'm not
I'm
necessarily
sorry,
opposed
these
to.
games, I'm just doing exactly what I think Orange Township has done with it being primary. I think again.
Orange Township's in a different situation than we are.
So I make a motion to approve resolution 190122-17. Do I have a second? Okay. Tired of these games too. You say one thing, but the actions don't match it.
Promised to give us $250,000 a year. Should the county say we can't continue to fund you?
There's no way I'm going to jeopardize the money we get from the county. There's no way I'm going to
And
jeopardize.
you think passing that as our commissioners, if we go in there, you think our commissioners are going to take that away because we passed something that's saying that we support them as primary? You really believe that?
I support our fire department too, but not proposed any change to our Delaware, to our Liberty Township EMS. But I think it'd be irresponsible to pass this until we're certain that it wouldn't affect the reimbursement.
So I didn't get a second. Okay.
I'm going to motion to table resolution 190122218. We're already through that process.
I'll second that. You didn't need to second.
There was an RFP,
I'm tabling.
but you said we've already done that, so I hear that, but you just said you're working.
We've already looked at different opportunities.
But we didn't have an official RFP, so we didn't do
I'm
this.
voting to table it. Need a second?
You seconded already.
Resolution 19, appointing medical director for 2019 is advisable and necessary to retain the services of the medical director to assist the township meet its obligations in the Ohio Revised Code 4765.12 and provide oversight to council to the delivery of emergency medical services, EMS, provided to the Liberty Township Fire Department. And Warren Yammer, MD, has been servicing in this capacity for the township, and Fire Chief Thomas O'Brien recommends renewing the contract with Dr. Warren Yammer for 2019. Therefore, by the Liberty Township Board of Trustees, Delaware County, Ohio, to authorize an agreement with Warren Yammer, MD, appointing him to the medical director for the Liberty Township Fire Department to assist the department in meeting its statutory obligations under Ohio Revised Code, Section 4765.12, with the following terms. Contract effective January 31st, 2019, expired December 31st, 2019. Annual salary is $6,000, paid monthly and $500 in installments. Dr. Hamrick will provide services deemed necessary by Fire Chief Thomas O'Brien. Furthermore, be it resolved by the Liberty Township Board of Trustees, authorize Fire Chief Thomas O'Brien to execute an agreement with Warren Hamrick, MD, with terms and conditions not inconsistent with those set forth in this resolution.
I make a motion to approve resolution 19-0122-19. Do I have a second? Is this the same one we've had the last couple months, this resolution? Is it the exact same wording?
I changed the dates on them.
Well, I just thought for some reason, or maybe I'll have to go back and pull them, I thought, or maybe I'm just, where it was that Chief O'Brien had recommended him.
It's in.
It's in, where?
Second. The
Okay.
second.
Okay.
Resolution 20, entering into contract for medical director for 2019. Liberty Township operates emergency medical services in conjunction with its fire department offering emergency services to the community. And the township desires to retain physicians with experience and expertise in managing emergency medical services who will make patient care top priority. The Ohio State University is uniquely qualified to provide certain medical director services to and on behalf of the township and LSU. Desires to accept such engagement and enter into services contract with Liberty Township. Therefore, enter into contract with medical director services with the Ohio State University.
I'd like to make a motion to table this. Do I have a second?
Second.
Resolution 9012220.
Second.
Well, I received this proposal last night at 9:45 p.m. Our chief did not even talk to Dr. Hanschel, who is in some of this, until this afternoon. It was sent to legal and was not given back to us till this afternoon. I don't feel that there was a true bidding process or an RFP. So I just can't imagine that we would move ahead. I can say, speaking for what I have not had the opportunity to meet with Ohio State. I know that Trustee Lanahan in the January 7th meeting was approved as the liaison on this. However, being an elected official, I still have a responsibility to make sure that I get all the same information so that I can make an educated decision for my vote. I take extremely serious. I don't think there's anything more important than making sure that the well-being and safety of our residents are at the forefront. I was excited as well as I knew Ohio State was having conversations that I wasn't included with. Ohio Health did reach out to the three of us. I can't speak on how the meetings went with you, but I had a meeting with them. I don't have a contract, but I have a proposal from Ohio Health and comparing it to the Ohio State one, which again, Ohio State Wexner Medical Center is a phenomenal organization as well. It's kind of the same thing of it's been unfortunate that we have been forced into a situation where we've had to try to pin our Liberty Township Fire Department EMS against the Delaware County EMS. And now again, we're in a situation where it seems like we're trying to start issues between Ohio State Wexner Medical Center and Ohio Health. And that's very unfortunate because I think if you ask both of them, they have the highest regard for each other. With that being said, I will just say, looking at the two different proposals, if we're looking at it from a fiscally responsible, Ohio State has this where we will be paying them $34,544 for their medical director. Ohio Health has said that they would, at the high end, give it to us for $8,640. And that includes training within it. I don't see that in Ohio State, and in all fairness, I'm sure that we would be able to go back and negotiate this, but considering it's on the table right now, I don't see how that would come about. Also within it, Ohio Health has said that they would be willing to, that they would appoint one with the trustees' approval. So full disclosure, it's quite possible it wouldn't be Dr. Yamrick. I would say it probably might possibly be Dr. Gabriel. But with that being said, 80% of our runs go to Ohio Health Network. So I do understand and fully aware that Ohio State is having a building come into this. I know when there's been some comments that it'd be a level 2 trauma center. So that maybe at that time it would make sense to possibly go with Ohio State, but it certainly doesn't today when we have 80% of it. Also, too, looking at this, so Dr. Panchel, who is currently the Delaware County EMS Director, would be the one that would be assigned to us. But then they also have said to assistant directors, so I'm not really sure who would be doing the work, if it would be Dr. Panchel or the assistants. Again, I haven't been able to ask those questions at this time. I do know, looking at their proposal though, and the parts on the, I think it was Appendix A for Dr. Panchel, they didn't even change the title from Delaware County EMS to Liberty Township. So I would assume it did go through legal. So with that also being said, looking at the cost, it doesn't make sense. The runs that we do doesn't make sense. The gold protocol, and there's been a lot of talk tonight about, you know, are we talking with the other townships? Is there a protocol? I certainly can't explain it as well as our chief, but we do work with the other townships. The medical directors do have discussions with each other. The runs are based through the run cards. We have a phenomenal EMS system. It is not broken. We can always tweak it, but it is certainly not broken. And I think you can look back at the comments from all 3 trustees, even as early as a year ago, telling you what a phenomenal leadership and department we have as a whole. There is a gold system in place that I know was referred to tonight that consists of Genoa, Harlem, Orange, Liberty, and Delaware City, not county, city. All of them are overseen by Ohio Health. All of them we do mutual aid with. So there's one outliner, and that's Delaware County, and they have been invited to these meetings. They have declined. So why would we go to the outliner instead of having that outliner come with us? That doesn't make any sense. So the gold protocol should be in place. Is the gold protocol in place?
Chief?
Not this time.
Everyone else went on board on December 1st, correct?
They're working on it, yes.
Who's working on it?
All the other.
Have they implemented
Yes.
it yet?
They're not fully, some of them are working on it, some are working on it too. Some
Are we
are-
still working on going to the gold?
We're waiting to, we're kind of in limbo right now.
Kind of in limbo. I thought we were supposed to, I thought on December 1st, we were supposed to be able to go into the gold.
We're kind of waiting on a medical director.
Waiting on a medical director. Have you been given any direction not to proceed with the gold?
During a conversation with Trustee Linehan, we discussed where we want to go with it.
Why not in public?
So were you given, I'm sorry, I just want to make sure. I'm sorry, were you given direction not to implement the goal?
During our discussion, I said our medical director issue, I said we're getting ready to implement a new protocol, and I just said we should still hold up on that.
Well, I'm not sure why that would have been, because that wasn't a directive from the board. But again, I think based on the fact of, from a legal aspect, I think there's questionable about us actually having it being an open bid. From a fiscal responsibility, the Ohio Health proposal, although we'd have to work on the contract, it seems fiscally more responsible. I think based on the fact of the percentage of runs that go there, I get to see what advantage at this point it would be going to Ohio State, and I think it would be irresponsible to pass that tonight.
Go ahead.
Our runs will not increase to Ohio State University.
That's correct. That is correct. So we'll have someone, instead of being the medical director within the Ohio Health Organization where 80% of our runs go, we'll have it with someone that gets 5% of the runs. We won't change taking them to that, because if it's a level 1 or level 2 trauma, they can't pass one facility to go to the next. But now we're saying that we think our best move is to go to a medical director, spend more money on it, has less seen in there, And we didn't receive this proposal until 9:45 PM, unless you saw it sooner, Dr. Gepperline, or Trustee Gepperline. I didn't see it till 9:45 last night.
I saw a little sooner than that, not much, though.
From who?
Of course. Dr. Township.
So he sent it separately to you.
No, it was a draft of what a proposal would be.
I did not receive that same information, so I wasn't clearly entitled to that, so.
With the medical directorship, a lot of the things that, the things that we're looking at are sending first available fastest vehicle, having a cohesive environment with our EMS staff and the EMS staff of our mutual aid partners and our closest neighbors, and having sustainability, long-term sustainability for our EMS services. At this time, after reviewing all the offerings and seeing where we sit, the direction that we're moving so that we can keep our own EMS and yet fix these other issues, with that direction, OSU. The issues that were in the Fitch report that are being discussed by the...
Guys.
I'm going to ask you to stop speaking while I'm talking, and this is not a question and answer session. The sheriff is here. We're trying to get
Guys, I had an opportunity to speak, and everyone was very respectful. I please ask that everyone is respectful so that the other trustees can be heard, because I have to be able to hear all the information to be able to do an educated vote as well.
We can't conduct a business meeting when you're constantly interrupting and shouting out. So this direction that we're moving in partnership with Delaware City and Delaware County. And that is why the team that is meeting is Delaware County EMS, City of Delaware EMS, and Liberty Township EMS, and the 911 Center of Delaware County. Because those are our key mutual aid partners. In fact, Delaware County EMS is going to be the first call for everybody that they're closest to in the township. That has not been the case, and it is my belief that every resident of Liberty Township deserves to have the closest available medical vehicle dispatched to it. The Fitch report acknowledges that this was not going on. The chiefs acknowledged that this was not the case. In every 911 call, every resident of Liberty Township deserves to have the closest medical vehicle dispatched. There's no reason that anybody in this township should be waiting 15 minutes when there's a car that's a medical vehicle 5 minutes away. We've heard what every minute means. In a cardiac arrest, it's the difference between living and dying.
And
With a stroke, it's a difference between minor brain damage and severe brain damage. No more is that going to be the case.
Always in the closest medical for those.
We always say, in all cases, people deserve the closest available vehicle.
Unless you're
There is no reason for anybody to be suffering with any kind of pain for 15 minutes when something's 5 minutes away. That's what the Fitch report said, and that's why these guys are meeting, and they're working on changing the run cards and fixing it. The run cards need to be under the authority of Delcom 911. But at any rate, with Delaware County EMS being our #1 mutual aid partner because they are on our border, they are closer to our residents than we are, we need to have a cohesive environment with them. They also have agreed to fund us, and we would like to continue to receive that funding. Right now, in the current environment, OSU is better positioned to provide a more cohesive environment. They are the 911 medical center, the 911 Delcom medical director. They are the Delaware County EMS Medical Director. They are doing excellent work. They run all their runs through metrics. They look at everything every month. They analyze everything. They have quality assurance programs. And because of them, Delaware County EMS is now one of 6 paramedic organizations recognized with a certification that only 6 paramedic units in the state of Ohio have. This doesn't mean forever, but right now, Ohio State is uniquely positioned to provide better service to all of the residents of Liberty Township. We need people looking at the runs, we need outcome-based protocol, and we need for our guys to be able to get on their trucks, to get on Delaware City trucks, and vice versa, and for it to be seamless and smooth, that they're all working together for patient care. Everything is about patient care. Sending somebody further away than need be is not about patient care. So based upon that, at this time, I believe that OSU is better positioned to serve as our medical director.
I would like to go back just to go over some of that information from the fact side. At this time, there isn't anything on Delaware City about them switching to Ohio State when she's talking about the 3 of them still working. We still, again, would be working with the other townships for mutual aid, which again would be falling under Ohio Health. Closest medic, if you were ever in a cardiac or ever in a level 1 or 2, was always coming to you. When we've talked about before about the closest medic, which fine, we can make an adjustment to, but is the fact that I've given many scenarios of sometimes it's not the best to have the closest medic, and it does matter about quality patient care, and it does tie into that, because you can have someone then from this area going all the way over here, and when a life-threatening one comes in, now we gotta pull someone else from the other township. That being said, if there's adjustments made to that, then so be it. But talking about putting the cart before the horse, I couldn't get seconds on motions about sending a message up there, but we're talking before we've even had the chiefs come in, make their presentation, that we're switching to Ohio State. Again, there's been a lot of things where we're putting words into their mouths, because you certainly have heard some things, but I have not heard the same things when I have reached out. And talking about quality assurance, quality improvement procedures, we do have those. I don't see these problems that are being talked about. I don't see this outcry of residents saying we weren't giving you the best care. Again, we can absolutely tweak it, but the system was not broken, and there's yet to be any factual information. I've heard about one incident up in Dornoch that represented 1.7% of the calls. 1.7%, and not that they don't deserve the same level of care that they do, and that's why the chief had made some adjustments. But to go from there to these kind of drastic measures and to say it's the responsible thing to do, it's not responsibility from a fiscal standpoint, it's not responsible from the runs that are remain and the places we're going to be, and it's certainly not responsible when we haven't even had the chiefs come in and make a presentation.
Can we hear what our chief thinks?
Yeah, I would like to hear what the chief thinks.
Why
I would like to make a motion to have the chief heard.
Because you
Do I
don't
have
want to
a
hear
second?
Paul.
Trustee Gepperline, do I get a second for letting the chief talk about having our medical director, who he's going to be working with now, with a contract that is a 3-year term?
I don't think it's fair.
I'm sorry, Chief, really? You don't think that is fair? Because I would like to know, Chief, just out of curiosity, it went from you having Dr. Warren Yamrick as the one that you recommended to now you're having to sit there and be quiet about it. So do you have any thoughts of this process of the medical director?
Trustee Eichhorn, I'm sorry, but due to executive session orders and privileges, I cannot discuss that.
So I was not given the same information, and the action is now being taken. Go ahead.
Sunshine Law.
No.
Sunshine Law. Trustee Gepperline.
No. Recall! Recall! Somebody do the right thing.
One more.
I want to go to resolution 19012224, authorizing expenditures for private legal counsel. Pardon?
41, 22, 23.
I'd like to motion to table resolution 21, 22, 23. I know that these are resolutions put on by trustee Gemperline and trustee Icorn, but I'd like to see if we can't talk about those in executive session at another time. Commission privilege is something I'd rather talk to you about.
When we have a resident specifically asked the question in a meeting, and we said that we would get back to them, and we did not do that, I think that's our responsibility to be transparent.
So I'd like to table 21, 22, and 23. Can I get a second?
Second that.
The resolution 44. Authorize expenditure for private legal counsel necessary for the township to utilize private legal counsel to advise the board on procedural matters. So this would authorize expenditure for private legal counsel to advise and assist the board trustees with general and procedural matters in the amount not to exceed $15,000 payable to Saxon Ridge.
Move to approve resolution 19012224.
Second.
I would like clarification of exactly what the $15,000 will be spent on.
Yeah. I think it said legal counsel.
General.
I would like more clarification on procedure matters. Are you talking about, I would like more clarification. Point of order, please, or point of clarification, Chair.
So for me, procedural matters means getting legal counsel on how to proceed with meetings, resolutions. The county has been refusing to give us legal counsel due to conflict of interest repeatedly. So we need to retain counsel to deal with everything that the county does.
But there's a difference between everything and you're talking about procedural meetings. So I want to make sure what this is we're passing. You're talking about parliamentary procedures of meetings and resolutions.
Well, I didn't create the verbiage of the resolution.
Okay, then I'm not saying you didn't. I'm just trying to make sure that the three of us understand what we are voting on and that if there's a clear understanding of what that $15,000 can be used for and not when it comes to the legal. So that's what I'm asking. Are we just passing it for parliamentary procedure?
So it says general and procedural matters. So general matters for the township that the county prosecutors does not provide legal counsel, we have to retain counsel.
Table it and read it better.
I make a motion to table resolution 19-0122-24. Do I have a second?
That's the second time. I'm going to ask you again. We have to have a business meeting. All right. Is your question answered?
Yeah, I'm not comfortable with the general. I think it leaves it too open-ended, but I do appreciate the answer. Thank you.
The vote?
Mrs. Icorn?
No.
Mr. Gamble?
Yes.
Did you call my name? Yes. Is there somebody who wanted to have a discussion about this? Addressing issues with current EMS? I didn't put that on. Oh, okay, I think we've addressed it all. Okay. Any unscheduled business?
Yeah, I'd like to, we need to do something about the sound system in this room. Matt, can you look into that? We've got to do something because we have a non-functioning sound system.
They were here on Thursday.
Okay.
My, unfortunately, assumption was they fixed it. They were supposed to have the wireless mic back by today, which obviously did not happen, so I will be following up with them tomorrow. One thing they did suggest is that we need more speakers in here, because we only have the two towards...
Get their advice and a quote, what that might be. Okay.
Well.
And please get with them. I'm a sound guy in my church. We need the system to be able to function.
Absolutely. So chances are we'll probably need to get at least 2 more speakers is what they're kind of recommending. So I'll get a quote on that and we'll move forward with
And if they, I'm very glad that they're going to show me how everything works, so I make sure it works everywhere.
I did go back to the room and all the power was on and everything, so I'm not sure what's going on.
The only other thing that I would like to address is, since I wasn't here in attendance on the January 7th meeting, that it was brought up about regarding the fire district. So since I was not here to address that, I think it's important that I do address that. There was a firefighter, and at the time I believe he was the union president, that I know, and I had confirmed this, had individually reached out to every single trustee and talked to them about some of the possible advantages of the fire district. From those individual conversations, I wasn't a part of them, but my understanding is that it was, okay, well, that would be some good discussions. I pulled, again, it's been a couple years, but I pulled all the minutes, listened to the audios of all of that. The audio that I pulled when it was actually talked about being put on, Trustee Linehan, correct, was not in that meeting, but it was asked by Trustee Mitchell. But with that saying that, if you listen to audio, which is public record, so you're welcome to do it. It certainly wasn't something that he was pushing. It was just one of those things of exploring it, that if you look at the rest of our strategic plan. But I was very excited for that topic to be brought up because it sounded like to me that Trustee Lenihan and Trustee Gepperline very much reaffirmed that they wanted to keep local control. So although that was passed last week about taking that off, it's still a little baffling that the other ones weren't passed tonight doing the local control. But I at least wanted to acknowledge, or at least be able to have the opportunity to defend myself.
Regarding local control, you heard what I said earlier. As long as everything continues to move along as it has been, and we're able to work with the county commissioners to come into an agreement that is favorable to the residents of the township, everything's moving forward very well in that direction. And at this point, it looks like we're going to be able to make all these changes without replacing our EMS. And you know what I've said all along, we're just looking at every opportunity to improve the
Oh, if we're going to read that statement, yes, then we need to pass as a resolution, because of 2016 and on, that resolution was never, ever passed, so there should not have been anything kept from me, from executive.
Okay, so what do you want to do? Do you want
That's up to you guys if you want to pass the resolution, make a motion to pass the letter that was provided to us by Prospect back in 2016, but we never formally adopted that even though we read it.
Okay, but we've used it in several executive sessions.
That could be correct. That could be correct, but it was never formally passed. So
It doesn't have to be.
Okay, well, that's
statute,
another.
basically?
It
That's
doesn't
not the
have to
legal
be
opinion I
passed.
received, but okay.
That we read this before executive session does not have to be it was provided to us by the prosecutor's office to read before executive sessions. We don't have to pass
Okay, well, that's.
a resolution to read it.
You guys have gone on record, you don't feel that's necessary, so okay.
I'll move to go into executive session for ORC 12122G1 to consider the appointment, employment, dismissal, discipline, compensation of a public or official employee, and for ORC 12122G8 to consider confidential information related to the marketing plan, specific business strategy, production techniques, trade secrets, or personal financial statements of an applicant for economic development assistance, or to negotiations with other political subdivisions respecting requests for economic development assistance, provided both the following conditions apply. The information is directly related to a request for economic development assistance that is to be provided or administered under any provision of Chapter 715, 725, 1724, 1728, or Section 701.07 through 725.67, 3735.70, 5709.40, 5709.43. 5709.61 to 5709.69, 5709.73 to 5709.75, or extension of utility services that are directly related to an economic development project. The unanimous quorum of the public body determines by a roll call vote that the executive session is necessary to protect the interests of the applicant or the possible investment or expenditure of public funds made in connection with the economic development project. Can we get a second?
Second.
Wow.
Mrs. Lanahan?
That was a long one. Yes.
Mrs. Icord? Before I go in exec, I just want to say, Dr. Warren Amber, thank you so very much for all that you do.
Yes.
Thank you so much.